but it's a time. The Day of Atonement. It's a time to afflict your soul. It's a time that traditionally you abstain from food and drink. You don't wash or anoint your body. You don't take a bath and put on perfume. Some even don't wear leather shoes because that's a sign of luxury. And you were to abstain from marital relations if you're married during this time. And it's here in the book of Leviticus where the Day of Atonement is. Some of the other requirements and observances are outside in the Talmud, but there is still a significance, I think, for Christians here in Leviticus 16. Because really, the Day of Atonement, quite frankly, speaks to an attitude. Sometimes I think we have gotten to the point that we treat God so flip. He's, we refer to him sometimes as the man upstairs. No. I always say, that's Mr. Johnson in 3E. No, that he's God. He's not the man upstairs. He's not a cool dude. And quite frankly, I know there's a song and I know there's a place in Scripture. Quite frankly, I don't even consider God my friend. Because friend denotes equality. I could tell a friend, oh, shut up. I can't tell God that. That's not a friend relationship. And when you look everybody in Leviticus 16, let's look at the first 5 verses. This approaching a holy God. It says, now the Lord spoke unto Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, when they offered profane fire before the Lord and died. And the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron your brother not to come just any time into the holy place inside the veil, before the mercy seat which is on the ark, lest he die. For I will appear in the cloud above the mercy seat. Thus Aaron shall come into the holy place with the blood of a young bull as a sin offering and a ram as a burnt offering. He shall put on the holy linen tunic, and the linen trousers on his body. He shall be girded with a linen sash, and with the linen turban he shall be attired. These are holy garments, therefore he shall wash his body in water and put them on. And he shall take from the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats as a sin offering, and 1 ram as a burnt offering. We'll stop right there. Notice in verse 1, ready? God appears to Moses, and notice what it says in verse 1. After what? The death of who? Of his 2 sons. Hold your finger there because this becomes significant. Look over at Leviticus chapter 10. You're going to get a good Old Testament word this day, especially in Leviticus. Leviticus 10, you there? Look at verse 1. It says, then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, and before the Lord them. So and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron, this is what the Lord spoke, saying, barred it as what? As what? As holy. All the people, I must be. Aaron, what's going on? My children, they offer something, but notice it says, put fire in it. I should have put a dot in there. You had the outer court where or even the Gentiles go to. There was an inner court that Jews went to. And then inside there was another room, and inside of that was the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat was. And hold your finger there in Leviticus 16, because we're coming back. Look at Exodus 30. Exodus 30. When you get there, holler. All right. Notice verse 10. It says, and Aaron shall make atonement upon the horns when? Once a year, with the blood of the sin offering of atonement. Once a year he shall make atonement upon it throughout your generations. It is most holy to the Lord. Once a year, right? Go back to Exodus 25. This is where he comes. You there? Look verse 17. God told Moses, when you go to the tabernacle, ready? He said, verse 17, you shall make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2.5 cubits shall it be its length, and 1.5 cubits its width. And you shall make 2 cherubim of the gold, hammered work. You shall make them at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub at one end, shall make the cherub of your one piece, and the cherubim shall stretch out their wings above, covering the mercy seat with the wings, and they shall face one another. You shall put the mercy seat, the testimony that I will give you. And there I will hold from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim which are on the ark of the testimony, about everything in the commandment to the children. Was a physical manifestation of the presence of God, where this is where I want you to come. You ready? Hebrews chapter 9. You got it? Now, in beginning of the book, the writer to the Hebrews talks about the Old Testament sanctuary. And when you get down to verse 7, we'll start at verse 6. He says, now when these things had been thus prepared, the priest always went into the first part of the tabernacle, performing the service. But unto the second part, who went there? The high priest went how? He went alone when? Once a year. Not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the people's sins, committed in ignorance. Right? So right to the Hebrews, he's looking back. Once a year. Now, ready? It wasn't just any priest. Right? It was the high priest. And the high priest had to be a descendant of the tribe of Levi. You could have priests out of any tribe, but from Aaron. Go back to Leviticus 16. And when you get there, look at verse 3. It says, thus offering of Israel, 2 kids of the goats as a sin offering, and 1 ram as a burnt offering. So now, this part, he's 4. And he shall the holy linen tunic, the linen trousers on his body, he shall be girded. Holy garment. Now I'm not going to count. Because I don't want you to count right now to get distracted. But you got home. Leviticus 16. Count. Is there. You're going to find out. Ready? A principle. Interpretation is when a word is repeated over, two kids of the goat, 1 ram, and notice and look down at verse 6. It says, And Aaron shall offer the bull as a sin offering. He shall take the 2 goats and at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then Aaron shall cast lots for the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord and the other for the lot for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat on which the Lord lot fell, and he offer it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be of the scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement on it, and let it go as the scapegoat into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the bull of the sin offering which is for himself, and shall make atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bull as a sin offering which is for himself. Then he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from the altar before the Lord, with his hands full of sweet incense beaten fine, and bring it inside the veil. And he shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is on the testimony, lest he die. And he shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his fingers on the mercy seat. Sprinkle some of the blood with his fingers 7 times. And we'll stop right there. Ready? Now, look on your outline. In the Old Testament, atonement refers to the process God established whereby humans can make an offering to God to restore fellowship with God. Yeah. And you can't get past even the symbolism in all they're going to take the censer and oh no. It was 2 things. You put the censer with the thing because lies sometimes equal amounts of each. You shall make of these an incense, a compound, according to the art of the perfumer, and holy. And well, I will meet with you. It is most holy to you. But as for the incense you shall not make it shall be to you they had the rope. They couldn't go in there. So they had the rope and pull you out. It's like, oh, somebody. And so he shall do for the tabernacle of meeting which remains among them in the midst. They are unclean. In other words, ready? The tabernacle was there saying, no, God is holy, but the holy is in the midst of your uncleanness. Hold your finger there. Look at 1 Peter chapter 1. See, sin. Want to make sure you get there. He says, knowing from your aimless conduct received by traditions from your father. Ready? Our salvation wasn't purchased with some gold that was mined out. A perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is not of this creation. Not with the blood of what? Goats and calves, but with his own blood, he entered where? The most holy place. He entered the Holy of Holies. Once and for all, having attained eternal redemption. For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of the heifer sprinkling the uncleanness sanctifies for the purifying of the flesh, how much more, verse 14 says, shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve who? See, think about it. Ready? The priest had to come every year. Every year, he was reminded. The nation was reminded. It's a assembly. You were not supposed to do any work. The nation ground to a halt on the day of Yom Kippur. Back in 1967, the Arabs attacked Israel on Yom Kippur because they thought, and it was. Everybody was praying, you fasting, it's holy, and you thought, well, I'm going to attack you on your most holy day when you not prepared. But you think about it, ready? Once a year you came in. But the only problem is, ready? You had to be reminded. And the thing is, ready? The blood could cover a sin. Ready? But it couldn't cleanse it. And there's a difference. Cleanse it. All the way. You would always be reminded of it. Look at Hebrews chapter 10. Just one page over, at least in my Bible. One page over. For the law, in verse 1. Everybody there? Yeah. It says, for the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the thing, can never, with these same sacrifices which they continually, year by year, make those who approach what? Won't make you perfect. Won't make you complete. Won't mature you. For then they would have ceased to be offered. Christ